Well, as expected, this episode of Raw was one of the worst things of all time, Cugs. I hated nearly every single segment that we saw today. Compared to last week's Raw, this Raw is a catastrophe. All right, let's just get to it and let's go do it and do it how we do it, which means we gonna do it segment by segment. All right. Reigns comes out and says, "Acknowledge me." That's the first segment right there. Cucky Rhodes comes out in the middle of this bullshit. And then when Roman Reigns was winning world titles, we are reminded just by looking at these two guys, Cucky Rhodes was out jobbing to Juventud Guerrera. Okay? He was dressing up like fucking Stardust when Roman Reigns was getting his push. Anyways, this has been going on for years now. For years, we're seeing the same storyline. Cucky Rhodes and Roman Reigns, right? Cucky Rhodes and Roman Reigns like each other. They don't like each other. Then they like each other again, and nobody gives a flying fuck. We've seen this 100 times. Remember there was that stupid-ass stadium thing where they met in the stadium and they were like, let's agree to disagree and let's be friends. This was basically that, except much less entertaining because we've seen it 100 times before. Cody asks, what is in it for you, Roman? Roman says he's been in this war and Cody is just joining. A very astute observation. Again, this is the same thing. It's another, you like me, I don't like you. You don't like me, I don't like you. We like each other. Nobody cares anymore situation, right? At this point, the hater found himself wishing that Big Show and Kane would just come in and chokeslam these jobbers. Basically, at some point, Roman Reigns says that my cousins are in this match. He mentions the bloodline to virtually no reaction. Then CM Punk comes out. He comes out and gaslights the audience by saying it's an all-star team. I couldn't believe that these words were coming out of his mouth. Only because nobody good is left in this company is someone like Cody Rhodes in the main event. Because when you had people that were good and that were locked in and weren't part-timers like Lesnar and, Cena, like Cody Rhodes was a fucking jobber. He was an undercard nobody. All that's happened is everybody else has made their money and they're moving on to bigger and better things. Meanwhile, Cucky Rhodes is going to go out there and play Guile in a Street Fighter movie that will almost certainly suck balls. Now, with all that being said, right, CM Punk is here, so he's got to talk, right? Basically, he says the same thing that Cody said. Roman Reigns, we're cool. Roman says, I don't like either of you. Okay, we get it. Nobody likes any of this at all. 15 years ago, this would be a fucking opening segment on like the pre-show of like a Great Balls of Fire. Anyways, Roman says the title would look good on me, right? And then CM Punk says, you talking to me? And Roman says, that's for you to find out as he walks away. Great. Another thing that needs to be observed here is that the Usos aren't good enough to be part of this segment. Like, they're so much lower on the card compared to these three jobbers, right? That they're not even worthy of being on TV. Now, Roman Reigns is over, and Roman Reigns has some star power, right? And quite frankly, even though the debate kind of was whose team is it, Cuckies or CM Cucks, everybody knows this is Roman's team, right? Just like everybody knows the other team is Lesnar's team. You can see this with the way that the teams are presented. It's really that simple, right? Nobody is presenting Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar as being anything but the real star attractions of this match. Everybody else is a Jimmy Uso. They're all supporting cast. Cucky Rhodes and CM Punk are just two other guys in this match. And these are the two world champions, motherfuckers. They are literally just two other guys. Cody Rhodes doesn't have it in him. He doesn't have it in his DNA to surpass someone like Brock Lesnar or even Roman Reigns as the face of the company, as the guy. The same way that when Roman Reigns won the Royal Rumble, The Rock needed to come out there to put this jobber over because he doesn't have what it takes, right? Again, I'm not saying that Roman Reigns is on the same level as Lesnar. Absolutely not. Like, someone like The Rock can elevate someone like Roman Reigns. Someone like Roman Reigns can elevate someone like Cucky Rhodes. And one day, someone like Cucky Rhodes is going to elevate Tozawa or whoever the fuck is going to be next. So anyways, a complete disaster of a segment. Nobody wants to watch any of this shit. We just want to see Brock Lesnar and maybe Roman Reigns we can tolerate. That's what people are here for. Nobody gives a flying fuck otherwise. Afterwards, we go backstage. Paul Heyman is telling the suspended Drew McIntyre that he's basically back and he's going to be part of this advantage tag match. Right? Maybe he's just suspended from SmackDown, even though that doesn't make any sense. Whatever, right? The point is, it's going to be Drew McIntyre and someone else against two people from the other team. The winner gets the advantage in the War Games match, right? Perhaps, and who knows, we'll see later, but perhaps we're going to see another new version of Drew McIntyre. This version is unlike any other version we've seen before. Shut the fuck up, you know what I mean? So anyways, after some shenanigans, basically Paul Heyman reveals that the partner is going to be Logan Paul. Obviously, this makes the most sense because Logan Paul is the most athletic, along with Drew McIntyre. Logan Paul is a better athlete than fucking Braun Breaker. I don't even think it's close at this point. Braun Breaker's a hell of an athlete, but let's be real, motherfucks. Like, Logan Paul's on another level. So anyways, after this, it's time for the first of the next round, matches for the last time is now tournament. It's going to be Carmelo Hayes versus fucking Gunther. Gunther comes out in a boxer's robe. I hate this. He comes out. As Carmelo is coming out, the focus shifts to Drew McIntyre playing with a new version of some sort of action figure. They have 4 action figures. They got Cena, right? They got Logan Paul. They got Hulk Hogan, I think, and Dusty Rhodes. So 3 of those 4 people in the action figure are former wrestlers that basically don't wrestle anymore. And the 4th one is an internet celebrity. In other words, WWE doesn't even have enough people to make action figures on. Because let's be real, no one's fucking gonna buy a El Grande Americano action figure, right? This is how it is, motherfuckers. This is how it went down, Also, it should be noted that one of those people is Dusty Rhodes, who sucks ass. But anyways, I guess he was good, they tell me. I've never even watched him. But I just look at him and I'm like, I just don't buy into it. I've seen him cut a few promos during his, older age, and I was never impressed by anything he ever did. So, take it, cucks. Take it. So anyways, the action figures are more interesting inherently than Carmelo Hayes and his entrance, even though I think that Carmelo Hayes has one of the best theme songs of its kind, right? Because he has one of these very modern theme songs, which are 10 notes. It's like, dun, 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 dun. Not even 10, right? It's like a simple theme song that just repeats on loop. It's nothing iconic, but of those kinds of theme songs, he's got a good one, right? Anyways, but nobody gives a shit. He's a complete jobber, right? This match is going to be presented exactly like that, right? They show what happened when Carmelo Hayes qualified for this round, and they present it as a massive fluke. He is basically legit a foot and a half shorter than Gunther. It looks like Gunther is fighting a child. This is unbelievable. This would be the equivalent of having Funaki, beat up Albert, right? It's stupid. It's silly. In no world does someone like Carmelo Hayes have any chance to beat up someone like Gunther. If this were a real fight, this would last 8 seconds at most, right? Basically Gunther would just throw this guy to the pavement and that'd be the end of that. But I will say this, just like last week, I would prefer Carmelo to win over Gunther. Anyone but Gunther is the moniker that I'm going for, right? So basically this match, even though it should be a squash match, and even though everyone knows that Carmelo has no chance to win, right? The match goes for 30 minutes, right? Gunther, here's some noteworthy moments. A lot of cool things were done by Carmelo Hayes, mostly variations of springboard or diving DDTs. It's all this guy does. But hey, it's more than a lot of other people, so I gotta give him props. Basically, the entire match is, can Carmelo get it done? It's every single match you see involving anyone wrestling Gunther. Gunther wrestles only one type of match. The only type of match Gunther wrestles is, I'm arrogant and I think I can destroy this guy, and the other guy doesn't believe in himself, and then he does believe in himself. And then depending on whether he believes in himself long enough or strongly enough, he might have a chance to beat Gunther. That's literally all Gunther brings to the table. Every feud that involves Gunther is Gunther telling someone, you ain't shit, right? And then the person being like, you're right, I ain't shit. And then, like, next week, someone tells him, hey, man, maybe you are shit. And he's like, yeah, maybe I am shit. In fact, maybe I am the shit. And then this person gets in their ego, and sometimes they beat Gunther. Not this time, though. This match lasted forever, and quite frankly, Carmelo Hayes has been botched and has been buried so much that at no point in this match did I think that Carmelo had a chance. And the match was designed to make you think that Carmelo had a chance. But I'm like, there's absolutely no way, right? There is no way. It's literally, if you had Funaki versus The Rock for 30 minutes, right? I don't care if the referee is at 9.5 and The Rock is 10 feet from the ring. I'm going to assume that the more likely scenario is the power is going to go out, right? Than The Rock losing to Funaki. It's just not happening. I know this sounds harsh, but it's the truth. Carmelo Hayes is on the same level as Funaki. He is an undercard jobber, and in my personal opinion, it's time to let this guy go, and maybe, like, he's still in his early 30s, I think, he can try to reinvent himself like the Drew McIntyres and Cookie Rhodeses of the world have done. Probably not. He's probably not going to do it, but he should at least be given the opportunity to try. This has been dropped so badly. Now, unlike most people, I'm not saying this has been dropped like WWE dropped the ball with him. I never thought he would amount to much, you know? I personally like him. He's one of those guys, one of those people that I like, but that I completely understand why they're not going to get over, right? Like, I just know it. You know, it's kind of like Matt Hardy in like the first 19 years of his career. Like, I was a big Matt Hardy fan, but I knew that he wasn't going to get over. Christian as well. For the beginning of his career, until he cut his hair. I was like, I love this guy. This guy's hilarious. This guy's great. But I don't think he's going to get over, right? And he didn't until he did. So there's always a chance. But it's not looking good for Carmelo Hayes, right? During the match, it was presented like if Carmelo Hayes won this match, it would be the biggest win of his career, even though Carmelo Hayes is a multiple-time NXT main eventer. Obviously, this proves that none of that shit matters. But again, the key takeaway here is this should have just been a squash match, because at no point would anyone really believe that Carmelo Hayes has a snowball's chance in hell. So eventually, Gunther beats his ass. He does a powerbomb. He does a sleeper. To Carmelo's credit, he kicks out of the first powerbomb and nearly escapes the sleeper. But Gunther converts the sleeper by getting up and powerbombing Carmelo one more time. And that's it, right? Simple as that. There's no like follow-up. Once the match is over, they just cut to the next segment, right? Simple as that, you know? Like, Carmelo Hayes isn't good enough to have any kind of follow-up. He is a jobber. He is this generation's Maven. That's what he is. He's a guy that's never gonna, it's maybe in 20 years he can start like a podcast talking about which wrestler gives the hardest bumps. Yeah, that's what I see his future being. You know, no disrespect again, but it's just not gonna happen, man. You know, and this one is one, I don't want to say that hurts because I don't really give a shit, but it is one that, you know, like in a sea of jobbers, he deserves a little bit better, you know, but it's done. It's over. So anyways, after this, it's time. I should also mention two inexcusable jobs in this fucking match. Two botches, two all-timers. There's a part where Gunther throws a chop and he chops the post, right? Carmelo's like on the apron by the post and Gunther goes for the chop and Melo's supposed to dodge it. Melo does his job, he dodges it. But because of the hesitation on Gunther, basically Gunther does the swing of the chop after Carmelo has dodged. It looks like shit, right? This proves that Gunther is not good at what he does, right? He misses completely and it looks like he missed on purpose. You know, a good miss doesn't look like you did it on purpose. And then immediately after this, Carmelo, like Gunther's still on the apron, right? Carmelo gets back in the ring and does like a vaulting slingshot type-ish DDT, right? Or he tries to at least. He's supposed to DDT Gunther on the apron. But again, I think this one was mostly Gunther's fault, but quite frankly, I don't care. The amount of botching that happens in modern day WWE is inexcusable, right? It's like you shouldn't be doing these moves if you cannot reliably do them. Plain and simple, right? Gunther is not good in the ring. Gunther botches every single match. Carmelo Hayes botches all the time, right? He's one of the better ones, but he botches all the time too. You know what I mean? The standard is just so low that nobody like knows what good wrestling is anymore, right? They think that doing 12 moves, as long as 12 of them are flips and botching 9 of them, they're like, yeah, the 3 that he did though, it was cinema, right? Carmelo Hayes botches inexcusably. He goes for the DDT. He doesn't have the wherewithal to grab onto Gunther's head. Gunther, equally retarded, doesn't have the wherewithal to sell it. So he sells it afterwards. Basically, Carmelo falls, makes zero contact. Testator says, he didn't get all of it, turning into Michael Cole. And Gunther just spikes his own head on the apron like a complete dumbass, right? And then, to make matters worse, okay, fine, a job happened, a botch happened, but realistically, it's like, what are you going to do next, right? How are you going to deal with the fact that you botched? Now, the best way to deal with it is for them to get up and then Carmelo Hayes to just do like a normal DDT on the ground to sell the idea that a move was done to Gunther. Instead, they just act as if they did it correctly. It's unbelievable, right? The level of laziness of both Carmelo and Gunther is insane. It's like you completely fucked up the spot. And instead of doing something to make up for it, you just pretend that you didn't fuck it up, right? And people tell me that these guys should be main eventers. Like, they don't even understand the basic logic of you fucked it up, try it again, or try something else again to make it look good. Instead, Gunther has to wait like 7 seconds, right? Pretending that he took a move and pretending that it's going to be hard for him to beat the 10 count. Carmelo goes out and does a dive to the outside. That was like in the middle of the match. It was a complete disaster, inexcusable botch. The jobbers involved should both be fired. I mean, if we're being honest, right? After this, the Usos hype up their team, and they want to be the tag team representatives tonight in the advantage match, right? It's a complete waste of time. Roman Reigns says, which one? What team is it going to be, guys? Who's the leader? He says it's the Cucky and CM Punk, right? But I don't even know why he's asking. Like, the Usos just said it's going to be us, so that's how it's going to be. And quite frankly, let's be honest, right? Roman Reigns is not wrestling on Raw, right? CM Punk is not wrestling on Raw. Cocky Rhodes sure as hell isn't wrestling on Raw. It's going to be the two lackeys. That's what it's going to be. Simple as that, right? The other team is full of lackeys, so in that team, it's more reasonable to be like, which permutation or combination of two lackeys is it going to be? In this case, this team has two lackeys, and they only have two lackeys. So it's going to be the two lackeys. There's no need to even like discuss this, right? Like the way that the Usos were talking to the guys were as if like Cody Rhodes wrestles every week and these guys are like, please, Cody, just this one time, let us do it. It's like, this guy doesn't fucking wrestle on TV. Like, have you been following the product at all, dumb fuck Usos? Have you noticed that Cody Rhodes wrestles like one time a year on Raw and one time a year on SmackDown? Like, are you retarded? You know, I understand this is all a show, but be realistic. Roman Reigns wrestled on the first episode of Netflix, and he hasn't wrestled on free TV since then. You know? So the idea that somehow Roman Reigns wanted to get his hand on these guys, and the Usos, they just want a shot, is stupid. Whoever wrote this is retarded. It's like you have to take into account who's involved in this bull. But anyways, that's how that went down, cucks. Dominic Mysterio comes out and says he will put an end to the retirement tour of Big Match John. Dom says he doesn't blame Cena for not coming to this dump. As he says this, Cena's music hits, but it's clearly a ruse. This becomes evident when Joe Testator says, an extra appearance. Like, what do you mean extra appearance? Cena put the number of appearances on the Titantron. You're not getting any extra appearances, right? So everyone knows that it's a ruse probably. But of course, if you are in the live audience, you might think, oh shit, it's going down, right? Because you don't know, right? You're probably a casual fan. And even if you're not, just the music is going to hype you up, right? And you know what? Quite frankly, the music is just, good enough anyways. You basically saw Cena. But instead of Cena, as one might imagine, the next thing that happens is, that's right, cucks, a midget Cena comes out. I don't know if the word midget is politically correct, but quite frankly, I don't give a fuck, That's not how we roll around here, right? I respect and love midgets like I do everybody else. So if people are going to get caught up, it's another thing that people do nowadays. They get caught up on the word you use out of ignorance, right? I'm not saying like fucking dwarf fuck, right? I'm saying midget. That's what we used to call it back in the day. Little person, I think is correct. Whatever, fine. A little person, Cena comes out, right? This is retarded, right? They come out and they just do the Cena entrance. The actor playing the little Cena, or John Cena, as one of the announcers, probably Wade Barrett, would say, a new version of John Cena. Oh, this is the fun-sized version of John Cena, right? So this guy just like takes forever to get into the ring, right? He's doing all the Cena stuff, but clearly he doesn't know how to do it. He didn't study it well enough. So even this actor is a fucking loser. Go study Cena's entrance for like 2 hours. You're about to be on national TV. Well, actually, no, you're not national TV. You're about to be on international streaming platform Netflix. Cucksta. Now, like, this is something he can show, like, his kids one day, right? He can be like, hey, look, Dad, he was here pretending to be a man that was actually famous. Whatever. He comes in there, and Dominic says something, right? He's like, what are you going to do now, Cena? He's, like, playing the part, right? And then the actor doesn't. He just cuts a Cena promo. Dominic says, stick to the script. He, like, whispers it in his ear, but he does it loud enough so everyone can hear. Whatever, right? I thought it was going to be a nice little, a fresh take on this, right? But instead what happens is basically, like, Dominic just kicks the guy down because he's not being compliant and hits him with a 5-knuckle shuffle. He then 619 and frog splashes him. Rey comes to save the midget, and he fails, right? Because Dominic runs away. Sorry, the little person. I'm learning, catch this. Rey is an absolute legend, so seeing Rey is always a good thing. And this leads to Rey versus J.D. McDonagh, or as I like to call him, J.B. McDonagh. Of course, the J.B. standing for Job, or Jobber McDonagh. So J.B. McDonagh, who is an undercard nobody, is having a one-on-one match with Rey Mysterio on Monday Night Raw. This is the same Rey Mysterio who is a 3-time heavyweight champion and who's had some of the best matches of all time. This guy is now having a competitive match against someone who has a 0.00001% chance of making it, right? The probability that JD McDonagh will be better than Rey Mysterio at anything is basically zero, right? So this should be maybe not a squash match because it is a Rey Mysterio match, but it should be a quick match, right? But it isn't. But the match otherwise is pretty decent. I do enjoy JD McDonagh's in-ring work, cucks, but he wrestles like everybody else. He wrestles like Carmelo Hayes, who wrestles like Ilya Dragunov, who wrestles like Sami Zayn, meaning that he doesn't wrestle well, right? And he has the same personality as all those guys. He has no personality, right? He's boring as shit, just like Carmelo, just like Nathan Frazier, just like Ilya Dragunov. They're all fucking losers. They're all people that you would avoid if you knew them in real life. Like, they're the kind of people that are like, hey, man, and you're like, nah, no thanks. Like, I'm not doing this right now. Sorry, bro. You're too boring. I'd like to stay awake during this interaction. So anyways, Rey Mysterio's out there doing Rey Mysterio shit. The match ends when Mysterio kicks JD in the knee or does like a drop toe hold kind of thing to set up for the 619, right? He does it such that JD's head hits Finn Balor's ball sack because Finn Balor's in the apron. This knocks Finn Balor down. Rey Mysterio hits the 619. And he does the slingshot splash and pins this motherfucker, right? Another thing that should be noted here is that Rey Mysterio, after the match, gets chased by Finn Balor, and he does a 619, but as a dodge, right? Like how he would do it back in the day in WCW. Like in WCW, he would do it as a dodge, and the person would fall through the ropes, or he would do it like the way it's meant to be done, like pretending that he was gonna just like do like a tope. And he would do the 619, and the guy would be like outside, and he would get startled by it, right? It would never hit. Now, in this case, he does it. Rey Mysterio dodges Finn Balor. And during this moment, I'm thinking to myself, this is some Tom and Jerry shit, you know what I mean? But fine, it is what it is. Except that it involves Finn Balor. Remember the time, motherfuckers? Do you remember the time when we first met, girl? Remember the time when they tried to tell us that Finn Balor was going to be a big deal, right? It's like, and I remember telling my friends, I didn't have the channel back then, but telling my friends, I'm like, Rey Mysterio is going to fucking eclipse this guy, right? Because people were like, this guy's the new this guy's the new that. And I'm like, do you see Rey Mysterio? Rey Mysterio was already like a jobber when Finn Balor like debuted. He was like jobbing to like Dolph Ziggler and shit. And I'm like, not only is Rey Mysterio going to outlast Dolph Ziggler, that's a guarantee, he's going to outlast Finn Balor too, right? That's exactly what's happening. Now, of course, Finn Balor might stick around for another 5 years in WWE, but Rey Mysterio, despite the fact that he's like 50 or maybe more than 50, he's a Hall of Famer, and he is now someone that beats people like JD McDonagh and Finn Balor easily, right? They're not on the same level, motherfuckers, and they never will be. And it's one thing for a prime Rey Mysterio to be rated like a 90 on WWE 2K and Finn Balor to be rated like an 88, let's say, right now. But now it's like Finn Balor should be like a 73 and Mysterio is like an 85. And they're not even close. So anyways, that goes down. I enjoyed the fact that Rey Mysterio was involved, but otherwise I don't care. Then we go backstage. It's time for the Adam Pearce segments. Raquel is complaining to him. New Day and Grayson Waller come to complain. Basically, AJ and Dragon Lee are putting up the titles against the New Day next week. The New Day is a complete disaster, right? If it weren't for two things. Number one, Kofi Kingston carrying this team in terms of the wrestling, and even though he's not that good. And number two, just the fact that I guess Vince McMahon liked them, because quite frankly, if we're being honest, the New Day, right, none of them are that talented, right? Quite frankly, they're all overachievers. They're overachievers in different ways. Like Kofi Kingston should never have been a WWE champion. Big E should never have been a WWE champion. And Xavier Woods, if we're being honest, should never have been employed by this company, right? So they've definitely overachieved. And they have entertained in the past. But it's been more misses than hits, right? It's been more misses than it's been hits, motherfuckers. Like, here's how you know. The New Day, there were times where they were like on top of the tag team division. And they were fine. They would be like on the opening match or maybe the jobber-ass dark match on WrestleMania. But there were also years when they were just there and they weren't in WrestleMania. There were years where like they were just in the Royal Rumble and they'd get eliminated. They were just jobbers. And then somewhere in between, they had title runs. Very strange. But good for them. But now this is obviously the weakest they've ever been. Because if there was anyone that was a highlight of the New Day, it was obviously Big E. So even though Big E is like kind of weird, like he's massive, you know, so you like to see people like that doing power moves. But anyways, now it's just these two jobbers left. And to make matters even worse, it's like you might ask yourself, Hater, how can you make the New Day worse? That seems like an impossible task. Well, I know how. You add Grayson Waller to them. Grayson Waller, who is definitely top 10 worst wrestlers of all time. That's another one that I got right. I don't bring this one up a lot, but I told people, I'm like, this guy has Justin Gabriel written all over him, right? And people are like, nah, man, this guy's going to be a massive star. Here we are, motherfuckers. Again, I'm like right about everything, honestly. But anyways, it is what it is. After this, they get the match. And then for some reason, Grayson Waller puts like a wig on Adam Pearce's head and then pulls it off again. It was weird. I don't know what they were referring to. And quite frankly, I couldn't give a rat's ass. After this, the heel team of the women's war games comes out, right? Becky cuts a "This is my team" promo, right? It's not good. It's boring as shit. Lash Legend looks fucking weird. I don't care how many times I'm going to say it. As many times as they tried to present her as an attractive woman, I'm going to point out that she absolutely is not. I don't give a fuck anymore, motherfuckers. The chains are off. Hater Unleashed cuts this. You know, she looks kind of like a dude, you know? And I don't think it's because she's bad looking necessarily. I mean, I don't think she's great looking, but I think they just make her look like that. Like they put on this wig that like a homeless person would wear, you know? Just pretty her up. You know what I mean? Or how about don't have her wear any wigs? You know, anyways, neither here nor there. She is, however, a capable athlete, and I do like it. Like, I looked her up. Apparently, she was a fucking basketball player before. You look up her pictures when she played basketball, where she's not even, like, wearing makeup, and she's not dressing up, and she looks 100 times better. You know? I don't know. Maybe in an attempt to turn her into, like, a Tiffany Stratton, overly made up type of person, they made her look fucking like, they put her like in the uncanny valley. You know what I mean? She's not like if you look at her basketball pictures, she's like, you might even say she's a decent looking girl. You know? Especially for a like WNBA player, you know, have you seen those broads? But anyways, they look like they're like 6'9" up in this bitch, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, the point is all of them, by the way, you know, because I keep hearing that, oh, Caitlin Clark she has pretty privilege. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? But anyways, neither here nor there, cuts. The point is, she looks weird, you know? Other ones that look weird, Asuka. Normally, Charlotte looks weird. She's been looking good recently, because I think she's like femmed it up a little bit. She's basically, they did with her, not what they do with Lash Legend, right? They gave her a different treatment, you know? Where they're like, all right, we're going to like make you look like a girl instead of trying to make you look like a fucking Amazon, you know? Anyways, neither here nor there, the point is, this is boring as shit, right? The faces come out, and they're led by AJ Lee. AJ Lee is also in contention for top 10 worst wrestlers of all time. I never understood what the big deal was about this bitch. And quite frankly, I hate her more than I hate Lash Legend now. You know? I don't even hate Lash Legend, but you know what I mean. She is so fucking annoying, right? I'm happy for her that she found CM Punk because they are the same person. They are these two egomaniacs. They are these two underachievers who think that they are the best of all time. Right? Like CM Punk is a fucking glorified mid-carder. His reign, which hasn't been that long, is already in contention for one of the worst title reigns of all time. AJ Lee comes out and she's like, therapy's good. That's like her thing. Nobody reacts to it. Nobody gives a fuck about this bitch. But anyways, afterwards, she's talking all this shit and all of a sudden, the promo becomes about her. She starts talking about herself. She's like, You made me do this, Becky, and now I feel this, and I this, and me this, and me. Shut up. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of this brawl. Then they start brawling, and nobody gives a flying fuck. Nobody cares about this in the slightest, right? Whatever. The brawl happens, as you would expect. We go to commercial, and we move on with our lives, motherfuckers. As soon as we come back from commercial, we see the brawl again. This is the strangest thing. They're like, right before the commercial, this is what happened. I know, motherfucker. I know. What do you think? I tuned in specifically for the commercial? You know? If I missed it, I missed it. It is what it is. If I'm tuning in now, I've missed like 80% of the show. They're like, oh, but just in case you tuned in right now, here's exactly what happened exactly before the commercial. Great. Just show it to me one time. That'd be nice. Cucks. After this, it's time for the worst match of the night. And quite frankly, one of the worst Raw matches of all time. It's time for Penta versus Solo Sikoa. Wade says, unironically, that the match is power versus movement. Right? So we're led to believe that Solo Sikoa in this equation represents power and Penta represents movement. Nobody wants to talk about the fact that they're both similarly sized, mediocre fat guys. Right? I'm fucking tired of every fat guy with no talent and us being told that he has power. No, he doesn't. Solo Sikoa is not a powerful guy. He's a chubby guy who's never lifted a weight in his life. Okay? Let's call it like it fucking is, man. You know, one of the worst things in this society is the complete lack of honesty, right? Solo Sikoa is not a powerhouse. I was thinking to myself, I did a quick list. If Solo Sikoa was in the ring with literally any singles wrestler in the Attitude Era, the other guy would be the powerhouse. Like, I started thinking, Val Venus, he's 100 times stronger than probably everyone in this roster, right? Steve Blackman, look at Steve Blackman. Ken Shamrock has one of the best physiques of all time, right? Like, if it was Ken Shamrock versus Solo Sikoa, Wade Barrett would be like, oh, it looks like it's power and athleticism versus complacency and sloth and fat assery, right? And same thing with Pentagon, right? He is not nearly athletic enough to be this movement-based wrestler. I'm sorry, motherfuckers. All the moves that he does are bullshit. He happens to, once in a while, do the Mexican Destroyer. He does the Mexican Destroyer. You know what I mean? He does that, which is an assisted move. It pisses me off. But that's not what pissed me off the most about this match, obviously, right? The fact that they're both mediocre-ass fat guys and nobody is impressed by either of them doesn't change the fact that this match was garbage. Early in the match, right before the commercial break, Penta decides, against all advice, right? Against the fact that I just said he's a fat bastard, right? He decides to listen to Wade Barrett and pretend he's a movement-based wrestler. So he climbs the barricade and he does a diving Hurricane Rana, right? A move that Lita would do, basically better than him, right? He does this to Solo Sikoa on the outside and takes a light bump. Now the hater is not Pentagon, and I don't know how hurt he was, but this is not a regular match. This is one of those get up and finish it matches because this is the last time his now tournament. You know, this would be the biggest achievement of Penta's insignificant career if he wrestles John Cena in his last match. But we cut the commercial. We come back from commercial. We have a full fucking commercial break. And then the referee's like, that's it. Match is over. They call off the match. We waited an entire commercial for us to be told that they've called off the match. Solo Sikoa wins by forfeit, basically. Or by, whatever. I don't even know what it's called. By forfeit, by technical stoppage. We don't have a word for this in wrestling. It's not pin. It's not submission. It's not DQ. It's not count out. So he wins by that. Maybe by count out, I guess. Doesn't matter. Pentagon can no longer continue. Solo Sikoa raises his hand. It's not necessary to mention, but I'm going to do it anyways. Tala Tonga is there as well, right? Who gives a flying fuck? But he's there as well, full paint. Now, this is a complete disaster, and I don't want to harp on too much about this, but this goes back to what I've been saying for, at this point, years, right? If you can't fucking do the move, don't try to do the move. It is not appropriate for someone to botch as often as Penta botches. Literally, in his first match, which was the Royal Rumble, this guy botched and was eliminated. Then all of us now have to suffer and pretend that this guy didn't get eliminated, right? Just the insult to our intelligence is enough to fire this guy. Straight up, motherfuckers. You know, people fuck everything up. They don't know how to do their job correctly, and the rest of us have to pick up the slack. Nobody talks about this, right? Every time someone botches, all of us have to lie to ourselves and say, wow, this guy's a professional. No, this guy fucking sucks. Penta is garbage, okay? Penta, at one point, Penta was in my top 5. When Lucha Underground was a thing, I thought he was just very well booked, and he had some cool moves, but not anymore. Now, Penta should be released. Penta is not good enough, motherfuckers. He is not good enough to be in WWE. You know, just like PS Power said in his last video, there was a point when someone came to the WWE, the expectation was that they are WWE ready. Penta can't speak English. Penta can't cut a promo. Penta can't do basic moves. Penta can't be trusted to finish a match if he hurts himself. What the fuck does Penta do? What does this cocksucker do? What does he add to WWE? You could literally take him out and replace him with anyone from NXT. You could take Brutus Creed and he would have better matches than Penta. Penta is shit, okay? And I fucking hate him. Now, I hope he gets better. I hope it's not a serious injury, of course. But quite frankly, I'm tired of people hiding behind their incompetence, right? Because there's this new wave of wrestling fans that says, oh, if someone fucks up completely, it's not okay to like make fun of them, right? No, fuck you. I'm gonna, right? Nothing is off limits with Hater Unleashed up in this bitch. Think about it this way, motherfuckers. It's like, you know how like sometimes like a sports team wins the championship and someone says, well, if this other team was healthy, right? Well, if Robert Griffin III was healthy, the Washington Redskins would have won the Super Bowl. What? He wasn't healthy though. He wasn't man enough to be healthy. He wasn't a good enough athlete to be healthy. So someone else won. Someone else with stronger men was able to win, right? And this applies to every sport. Like I was watching some highlights from football this weekend. Some quarterback, I think he plays for Tampa. He just like throws the ball. There's nobody on him. He throws the ball and he pulls his shoulder. This is not normal, motherfuckers. This guy is not fit to be an athlete. He's fit to go. I mean, he's getting paid millions, so why not, right? He's fit to go and pick up the boxes and take it from here to there, right? Mediocrity is a plague upon society. And in wrestling, nothing screams more mediocrity. It's close, but nothing screams more mediocrity than Penta. A close second might be Solo Sikoa, one of the biggest jobbers of all time. Anyways, rant over, motherfucks. Maxine Dupree then tells Pearce she's just getting started. She says she's gonna call Natalia. Nobody cares, motherfucks. You have to be joking me. You have to. I couldn't believe my eyes, right? Literally. This bitch wins the IC title, and the next person, for the first time in what feels like 2 years, I think, I'm not even sure if it was Ivy Nile, because I haven't seen her in 2 years, but I'm pretty sure Ivy Nile comes out. She apparently is somehow still employed, and she says, that title is mine. It's like, Ivy Nile, you've been in this company for like 7 years, you've had 4 matches, and you've lost 4 of them. Maybe you've lost 3, right? Ivy Nile is definitely in top 10 worst wrestlers of all time. Like about 6 of them are current female wrestlers, including Ivy Nile and B-Fab. Like these are people that have not done anything for this company. Like I swear to God, I'm not joking. I think the Hater has made more money for WWE talking shit about WWE than these broads have combined. You know? Because there's got to be some person who watched the Hater, right? And then they went back. Some of you have already told me. You went back and you watched the old pay-per-views, right? I've earned more money for the company than fucking Ivy Nile. But anyways, it's not here nor there. After this, Roxanne Perez appears, right? Pobrecita. I don't know why they call her that, but it is what it is. She appears. It should be noted that Maxine walked away from Adam Pearce. Then she appears and starts bullying Maxine. Then Adam Pearce appears again. He just appears again to diffuse the situation like a fucking school principal. It is annoying as shit. After this, it's finally mercifully time for this shit episode to come to an end. The Usos come out. And then what happens? We go to commercial. Of course, motherfuckers. We come back and we get a boring ass pre-taped Stephanie Vaquer promo in half English and half Spanish. Nobody gives a shit about this broad. It's already over. She's just another wrestler at this point. There is nothing distinguishing, aside from her nationality and race, distinguishing her from fucking Io Sky. They're the same fucking thing. They're 2 wrestlers who can't speak English and botch a lot of high-flying moves. That's all they do. They bring nothing to the table. If tomorrow Io Sky beats Stephanie Vaquer, no one should care at all because nothing has happened. But if Nikki Bella wins, that'd be nice, motherfucks. After this, Logan Paul and Drew come out. They both have incredible physiques. And I start thinking to myself, number one, some people back when I said, I was one of the first to say Logan Paul is great, right? A lot of people were like, Logan Paul sucks. And I was like, this guy's massive. Look at him compared to The Miz. People are like, he looked small compared to The Miz. I don't know what fucking TV you're using. This guy is like twice the size of The Miz. Logan Paul looks and feels like at minimum a light heavyweight. I don't want to go as far as saying heavyweight, right? But he is comparable to Drew, who clearly is a heavyweight. And then I look into the ring, and you see the two fat asses, the Usos. And I start thinking to myself, wait a second. Like, Logan Paul can beat up both the Usos in real life easy, right? No problem at all. He would knock them both out in under 10 seconds. Then I start thinking, can he beat up CM Punk? Easy, right? Of course. Logan Paul would destroy CM Punk, right? Can he beat up Cookie Rhodes? Of course, he would beat up Cookie Rhodes, in my opinion. Can he beat up Roman Reigns? Absolutely. I don't even think that's like even controversial at this point. Roman Reigns is just like, he's just starting to look old and shit too, you know? So I'm thinking to myself, wait a second. Logan Paul can literally, in the real world, in my opinion at least, beat up everyone on the opposing team that we're told is an all-star team. Well, if he can do it, then I don't think anybody would doubt that Drew McIntyre would destroy everyone on the other team in a real fight. Well, if Drew McIntyre can do it, it's not much of a stretch to think that Braun Breaker can do it. I mean, he is athletic, he is intense, and he looks like he'd tear you apart, right? And if he can do it, well, I don't know. Maybe Bronson Reed can do it too. And all of a sudden I'm thinking to myself, wow, this is the most imbalanced team of all time. Even like Team Lesnar versus Team Angle at Survivor Series, you had at least a young John Cena, who is a beast. And of course, you have Kurt Angle himself. Yeah, you also had like Eddie Guerrero and shit, right? But you had Kurt Angle, who's like a legit athlete, right? And obviously, Team Lesnar would win in a real fight because they had like Nathan Jones and Matt Morgan. You know, they had like, that team was just like full of complete anomalies. But now I'm thinking to myself, as far as my analysis goes, 4 of the 5 like men of the heel team, in my opinion, would beat up all the faces in a fight. And then the 5th guy, to make matters even worse, is none other than the man beast himself, the beast incarnate, the alpha male of our species. That's right, I'm talking about Brock Lesnar, right? Like, now you know for a fact, Lesnar would tear CM Punk apart in 3 seconds. He would tear Cookie Rhodes apart in 3 seconds. Roman Reigns might last 3.5. The Usos are not lasting 2, right? This guy is tearing these people apart. It's not even worth debating, right? And this is, and he's got like all the other guys in the same team. This is ridiculous. Like, this is a stupid ass match. This would literally be if you had like the Brothers of Destruction, right? And the Big Show against like Kai and Tai being comprised of like Funaki, Taka Michinoku, and like Men's Teo, for all of you that remember Men's Teo, right? And then like, and it being presented as if it's a 50-50 match. So anyways, this shit goes down. The match is happening. A circle jerkery appears because everyone comes out. This leads to Logan Paul pinning the weak link, Jimmy Uso, who literally has not won anything of value as a singles wrestler in his entire 25-year career or whatever. So he gets his ass beat one more time. Like, Logan Paul is more decorated than him. He's been around for like 12 matches. Anyways, he gets pinned, so the heel team has the advantage. Then everyone comes out, they're brawling. Then, of course, when I said the circle jerkery happened, Roman Reigns hadn't come out yet because he's going to come out with an entrance song, right? So he comes out, he clears the ring. Then, like, you see the credits roll, you know, but Brock Lesnar was shown to be around earlier. So, you know, like, you know that's happening, you know. But anyways, it is what it is. Basically what happens is Lesnar's music hits. He comes in, he confers with the team, and then they go into brawl, and the show just ends, right? The show just ends mid-brawl. That's fine. That happens all the time. Usually that happens in the go-home show. So we still have a SmackDown. So what's going to happen on SmackDown? Like, Cody Rhodes is going to come out and be like, let's pick up where we left off. It's like, I don't know how you left off. Like, who won that brawl, right? If it is, you know, the go-home show, and the show ends with a brawl, well, that's fine, because then the next thing you're going to see is going to be the pay-per-view. So it literally leads up to that. But now it's going to lead up to another boring-ass Cody in a suit promo. So, in summation, this show was complete garbage. This review went far too long, but I had a lot of intermittent rants in there, so, sue me, motherfucks. So, this show absolutely gets a 0 out of 10, one of the worst of all time. Take care of yourselves and go fuck your own asses. Cucks this!